So now we get into um, one of the darker parts of my life. And to some of you, it might seem stupid that it happened and I let it do that, but pretty much this can happen to anybody. Um, I love school, and kindergarten, first grade was great. I had lots of friends, and then second grade came around, and I had to go to another school. So the first school was a great one, and I had this really cool gym teacher named Mr. Sampson. And when I went to the next one, we had this, I don't know if I could say a crossbreed from an ogre and a drill sergeant. Um, Mr. Joseph was probably the meanest, loudest person I've ever heard. And, I've heard shouting before. Parents argue, stuff like that, but this guy was, you got second graders being screamed at like they're in the army with a guy that would make fun of them and do stuff. Like, first it didn't bother me too much because I said I was used to shouting and he wasn't near me. I was like, he'd pick on kids. Me, like, I was always teamed up with the chubby girl because we were slow. Or at least, he thought I was slow, like, and I was faster, but, it was just a lot of things like that, and he'd make fun of, kids with glasses he'd call Four Eyes, and my one friend, he had glasses, and he had, like, a little bit of an overbite, so he called him, Four Eyes and Bucky, and make fun of him, make facial expressions. So this guy is really rude, and the thing that's sad is, you can really get to try to do stuff to people, like get them fired and stuff, or have action taken against them. But if they know everybody and they stick up for them, your word against theirs is just horrible. And especially what happened to me. I was it's the stupidest thing, but when you're a kid, it can be the biggest thing in your life. So, anyways, he told us on one day that we were supposed to play basketball the next day or a day or two later. And I wanted to go and ask him if I could bring my basketball because I think my parents got me a ball or my brother gave me his ball or something like that. It was a new one. It was really cool. It was signed and stuff. And I went up to him and he was talking to somebody and his back was turned and I accidentally called him Mr. Sampson. I was like, Mr. Sampson, could I bring my ball to... And before anything else, he turned around like that. It was this close to my face and screamed at the top of his lungs. Like, he said, he said, my name is not Mr. Sampson. No, you cannot bring your ball. I'm like, get back in the damn line. No, I know. I'm like, oh, he's a pussy, saying that stuff, wissy, 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 stuff like that, and I'm gonna get ridiculed and stuff probably by people that don't give a dang about stuff, but I'm gonna tell you this and stuff. When you're a kid, and or anybody, even some people get frightened and stuff, and someone goes like that at you, especially screaming at you, it can mess you up. So, from that, the fun started with my life. I started getting sick. I started crying in the morning, not wanting to go to school. And I would get panic attacks. I'd have anxiety. I didn't tell my parents what happened because I was scared of what could happen to me. And what I didn't realize is all the stuff that bad was happening to me was because I didn't say it. I was so scared to say stuff. It wasn't a year until I actually told them what happened. So there would be days I would go to school and I'd start crying in class. I was made fun of, had teachers yell at me. I had people have me talk to children's services thinking my parents abused me, which they never did. I had all these different problems. I had to see a psychiatrist. They would try to force me into classes and everything. My parents, for a long time, would stay in the class with me, which was terrible. I mean, it's embarrassing, even for a kid. And, I went from having all those friends to fake ones because I'd get the cards that say we miss you that the teacher made them write, and they get the pat on the back and how are you doing and stuff. So, I pretty much lost everybody except for the one kid with the glasses I talked to once in a while. But, it was really embarrassing to go anywhere, to go to a video store and have a kid pat me on the back. How you doing? And stuff like, like the dumb kid or the one that has problems. And, I couldn't step into school without having a panic attack. My eyes would get really, really big, and I would cry and scream, and I couldn't control myself. And it was a terrible part, it was a terrible thing. I mean, all the things I went through, I had to go through programs. I had to get help. I was on medicines. And because of not having any friends and everything, I didn't really like myself. I always hated myself. And, my escape was through art and comic books. I had video games and stuff like that, but my brother was getting to be where he wouldn't spend time with me because he had friends, and he was in high school and stuff, so that didn't matter. And it got to the point where, I read comics and escaped into that world. Because the outworld wasn't that great for me. Even though I had wonderful family and stuff, and I was able to get schooling at the library. I had a substitute teacher, and in 5th grade I went back to school, but I couldn't handle it, so I did a school program, and they did not let me pass, so I was held back a year. But basically through those years, from 2nd grade on, I had some bad times, and my parents never knew that I was suicidal many times, and it was really hard being, like 7 years old on up till 10 or 11, wanting to kill yourself. And I never had a big threshold for pain, so I would do stuff that wouldn't hurt me real bad because I was a wussy as a kid. But I tried taking lots of medicine and choking myself and stuff, really bad stuff behind people's backs because they thought I was just a smiling little boy that had crying when he went to school and stuff. And it didn't help, and finally, in 5th grade we found that you can homeschool after I was held back, and I had a wonderful teacher come and teach me math at my house. And Mr. Mazzina was the greatest guy, and so, it was so hard because, I didn't have any friends. And that's why I love when I found web TV, the internet, back in Christmas 96, I believe it was. And I got online, and I met tons of people, and some of the ones I met later on I still talk to today. My one friend on here is trying to get in the music industry and everything, so she wanted me to tell you, go on to Amber Lane Music on the MySpace account that I have and look her up and stuff. So, but I've known people for years, and there was this time, I just felt like I would never have any real friends or anybody to really love me and stuff. I know my parents loved me, but that's just the natural thing. So, those years I just did my schoolwork, and I just did what I had to do. So, my phone's ringing, so I'll do part 2 after this about what happened when I met a special girl. Chat. My wife's not on the phone, so I'm gonna go now. Bye bye. God bless. Part 3 coming up.